Hi, Kayla. I'm just looking at your rough draft here. Um, Let me get the, okay, yeah. So I would say, this is looking pretty good. I would use the smooth tool. It's underneath the shaper tool. If you can't find a tool, you can always look it up here and look up in the search, and then get help on the smooth tool, and it'll show you where it's at if you can't find it. But it's underneath so you have to click and hold down to find it underneath the shaper tool. Kind of looks like a pencil with like 3 lines through it. But I would just take that smooth tool and just smooth out a couple of these bumpy areas. You might have to use the white arrow tool to select some of this stuff. I would delete this white. Ooh, oh, that's a white shape. Okay, so you have white over the top of this, but we want to smooth out this edge here because it's not super smooth. We want it to be nice and smooth. So you have to have the shape selected, and then get on the smooth tool. Sometimes when you switch over to the smooth tool, it will deselect your shape. So you just need to reselect the shape and then use the smooth tool again. Since this is a white shape on top of a black background, actually no, is there a white shape there? No, okay, I guess there isn't. Sometimes it's hard to tell. So that made that a little bit smoother. There's still like some issues with that one hole there. There's some kind of overlap here happening. You can see it when you zoom way in. Oh, so there's an extra anchor point here. So if you go underneath the pen tool, there's a delete anchor point. You can delete this one anchor point, and that will kind of help to make that look a little bit better. And I'm going to go back to the smooth tool one more time and just smooth it out even more. That was all I noticed about the shape of this church key. The K and the Z are really plain, but it is a start. I almost wonder if you couldn't change the fonts to something bolder. Myriad Pro is really basic, but you could go through your font list and just try to find something a little bit more interesting, I guess, and maybe something really bold. I'm probably going to have different fonts than you do, but you can go through, and I would make it bigger and I would center it. So, make it like that big. And actually, since this is in the same text box, you can highlight all of them, and I would change the leading over here. This is the space between lines of text, and I would just tighten it up. I mean, I would make it like 36 or 48, depending on how big you make your text. You can also use this tool here. It's called the Free Transform tool. It looks like a dotted box with a cursor in it. If you click on that, you can push Shift on your keyboard and drag out from the corner just to get this to size up even more. I think it should really fill the shape quite a bit. And we can also shrink this text box around just so it's not getting in the way. And then we can click and drag over all of this and then just do a group to group it together. And then I would move it over here and actually, put your full name off to the side here in a nice font pair if possible. I think I spelled your name right, hopefully. But you can, you could do like, some scripty, and then maybe like this one would be, more bold or something. And I would make the leading, with this particular font pair anyway, needs to be a little bit more, which is the space between, so that they're not overlapping. And it's visually, this is not lined up with that, so I would just like put my cursor in front of here, like, and just put like a space, which is too much. But if I push Option on my keyboard and then use the left arrow, you might use, and if you have a Windows machine, it would be Alt on your keyboard, and then you would use the left arrow tool or the right arrow tool to open or close this space a little bit, just to center it visually. And maybe something like that would be a good example. And then just remember to save this Kayla Zarn logo BW. So this is this would be the black and white version. You want the AI file, and then you want to export out File, Export, Export As, export out a JPEG. Definitely check Use Artboards. I'm just going to put this on my desktop. Export the, actually, sorry, file, export. This is how you get your JPEG. File, export, export as. You know, we want to name this right, obviously. Make sure your AI file is named this way as well. We want this to be a JPEG file. We want to use artboards. Put this on the desktop. You can put it in a folder that makes sense, obviously. And make sure it's you know, CMYK 300 PPI. Everything else should look like this. And then push OK. And that's how you would get your JPEG files. And then you would do a file save as on this AI file here, and make, you know, add color next to get your colored logo. Of course, you know, before you do any of this, make sure that you outline your fonts by right-clicking with the black arrow tool on the text box and doing create outlines, so that this becomes a shape. So you can see that these are anchor points now. It's no longer editable, so make sure before you create outlines on your text boxes that you have it totally dialed in the way you want it to, because you won't be able to edit your text or change your font after you create outlines. But definitely do that before you save any of your files. And yeah, turn that in. You need to zip it up in a zip folder, you know, all 4 files, the AI of the black and white, JPEG of the black and white, AI of this color, JPEG of the color, logo, and then put that in a folder named appropriately, and then zip that and upload that. And I do have a video in Brightspace that shows you how to save and name your files and how to zip the folder. So definitely watch that if you need to. But I would say this is the direction maybe that you should go with this. You could also try making this more like this, and then the K and the Z here, and then putting your full name like on top. But I don't think it comes across as a church key as well when it's horizontal. I think actually keeping it vertical, it comes across as a church key to me a little bit more clearly when it's up and down like this. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful. We'll talk to you later.